This conference will now.
We're good to go? Well, good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to our August 8th, 2024 Lander County Commissioners meeting. All items on this agenda are approximate. Consideration of items may require more or less time than is scheduled. Items on the agenda may be taken out of order. The public body may combine two or more agenda items for consideration, and the public body may remove an item from the agenda or delay discussion relating to an item on the agenda at any time. Public comment is designated for discussion only. The public has the opportunity to address the commission on any matter not appearing on the agenda. However, no action may be taken on any matter raised until the matter itself has been specifically included on the agenda as an item upon which action may be taken. Additionally, public comment may be heard on any item listed on the agenda. Persons are invited to submit comments in writing and or attend and make comments on any agenda item at the Lander County Commissioners Board meeting. All public comment may be limited to 3 minutes per person at the discretion of the commission. Please note that the public body may interrupt the open meeting and exclude the public for the purpose of having an attorney-client discussion of potential and existing litigation, which is pursuant to NRS 241-0153B2. I'll call this meeting to order. Sean, would you lead us in the pledge this morning?
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll have a moment of silence. Lander County Commissioners may break for lunch from 12 p.m. to 1:15 p.m. Any agenda item may be taken out of order, may be combined for consideration by the public body, and items may be pulled or removed from the agenda at any time. We'll go to Commissioners' reports on meetings, conferences, and seminars attended. JR, we'll start with you.
I have nothing to report.
Kathy?
Nothing to report.
Andy?
I went to the NACO meeting in Carson City, and the NACO conference is September 24th through the 26th, and I will be attending that, and I guess Sean and Bert are also. The state did a presentation to us, and they're doing what they call an open finance portal, and it's called checkbook.nv.gov, and it's you can go in there and see every check they ever write, and they're encouraging all of the counties to do that. Right now they have Washoe and Carson City on it, and they're encouraging all the counties to do that. And then NDOT did a presentation for us.
Thank you. I have no report, so we'll move into staff reports on meetings, conferences, and seminars attended.
Morning, Commission. We need special thanks to Nevada Gold Mines as we just received word that we got a grant from them for $90,397.90 for the Civic Center improvement project. This will include main display using a 70,000 lumen 4,000 projector with 164 motorized retractable screens, 75-inch TVs, a camera for the presenter and a camera for the audience, video and audio processor hardware and custom programming, a tablet-style controller to operate the system, zoned audio speakers and multiple wireless microphones, to name a few. A big thank you to Alyssa Wood and Sarah Edgar for assisting us in this process. We met with NDOT. We did put in some heavy requests from encroachment permits, sidewalks, bike paths, sound walls, foot bridges, and airport improvements. We were updated that 305 will be grounded and paved from Antelope Valley to US 50 Austin next summer. This is a much needed project we can look forward to. NDOT will be coming back before you with our comments and presenting to this commission. So that's all I have for now.
Okay, thank you, Sean. At this point, we'll move into public comment for non-agenda items only. Is there any public comment? Okay, hearing none, we'll move into our consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and may be acted upon by the Board of County Commissioners with one action, without extensive discussion. Any member of the board or any citizen may request that an item be taken from the consent agenda, discussed and acted upon separately during this meeting. Consent agenda materials are available at the Lander County Clerk's office for viewing, and copies are available for a nominal charge. 1, approval of August 8th, 2024 consent agenda. 2, approval of June 20th, 2024 meeting minutes. 3, approval of June 27th, 2024 meeting minutes. 4, approval of July 11th, 2024 meeting minutes. 5, approval of July 25th, 2024 meeting minutes. And 6, approval of payroll change requests. So we have items 1, 2, and 6. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion we approve 1, 2, and 6.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll move into 1.1 for discussion and possible action to approve disapprovement payment of bills. We need to pull check number 224748. Are there any other checks that need to be pulled?
Father-in-law works and receives pay from Black Star Construction, who was hired by our Public Works Department. Bert would like the commission and community to know this, and I would also like, which Bill's not here right now, so Mike, if that is adequate disclosure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that.
Note that you said yes on the record.
Mike said yes on the record.
Yes, okay, thank you. So is there a motion to approve the remainder of the bills?
I'll make a motion to approve the remainder of the bills.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay.
And I'll make a motion to approve check 224748.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and I will abstain. It's made to my client. Okay, so we'll move into, Amy's not here yet, so we're going to jump to 1.3 for discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove Lander County becoming a political subdivision with the Nevada Public Employees Deferred Compensation Program.
So commissioners, this is just another supplemental for retirement that we would like to put in place for employees. Doesn't cost anything to the county. It's for but we have to do it through a payroll thing. I do have the individual here that can speak for it. If you'd like to come up and give them some background.
Yeah, tell us how it all works.
Happy to do that. Good morning, members of the commission, members of Lander County staff. My name is Rob Beamer. I serve as the executive officer for Governor Lombardo and the Public Employees Deferred Compensation Program, which is the sister program to our pension plan, which is Public Employees Retirement System. This is a supplemental program that we created back in the late 70s, which was kind of strictly for state employees and for NG employees, Nevada System of Higher Education employees. Over the years, governors have found it within their purview to extend this program out to local political subdivisions, especially those that aren't, that maybe don't have the capacity to create their own plan and get the best cost to value for their employees. Deferred comp is, we've taglined it the Nevada Deferred Comp Plan, or NDC plan, is a $1.3 billion program that we manage on behalf of over 60,000 government employees across the state, which includes state of Nevada, Nevada System of Higher Education, and pretty much every county except for Washoe and Clark, that because they have their own standalone plan. We are the largest deferred comp plan in the state, government deferred comp plan in the state. The nice thing about the deferred comp plan for counties and for cities that participate is we pretty much take on all the fiduciary responsibility on behalf of your organization. And so any of the employees that enroll in the program, certainly they can take advantage of the cost offsets that we drive, being a $1.3 billion program. We pretty much, I go out to these big fund managers like Vanguard and T. Rowe Price and JP Morgan Chase and all these different fund managers, and I say, listen, we're the state of Nevada. We have $1.3 billion to potentially invest with you. What kind of deal are you going to give me? And so we drive the best pricing options we possibly can for you and I as participants. I am a participant in the program as well. And then we are governed by a 5-person committee or board that's governor appointed. Governor Lombardo or past governors have appointed all these individuals. One of the prerequisites is that every one of the board members has to be a member of the plan as well. And one of those five board members or committee members can be represented by a participant who serves in the executive branch of the state government, or a local political subdivision. And I was instrumental when I was appointed in 2014 by then Governor Sandoval. He felt like, given the fact that at that time there was probably $150 million in assets that were assets that we were managing on behalf of political subdivisions, they should have a decision, a place at the table, if you will, to help us make decisions on behalf of the program. And we constituted that as part of the 2017 legislative session where we allowed that. And so currently right now that position is vacant, but I know the governor is considering 2 individuals that have applied from the city of Sparks. We try to get people that represent the demographic of employees that utilize the program quite a bit, which seems to be our public safety folks. And so we are in the process of filling that. But that being said, anybody from a government, local political subdivision that participates in the program can apply for that position and be considered by the governor. I reached out to Mr. Ramos and his staff, mainly because Governor Lombardo, we did a kind of a overview of political subdivisions that are not participants in the program. And he was very adamant that I spend this year reaching out to those entities to at least make sure that they know that they have the ability to participate. And he feels like it's a great program for employees. Again, we do a lot of the work for your staff, which is great. All we ask is that they remit contributions according to our guidelines, and that they participate in a annual financial audit if they're selected. Usually with our local political subdivisions, we will try and rotate through those, so they're not selected every year, of course. But we do that so that we can maintain safety and continuity within the plan and ensure that contributions are getting where they need to go, right, to participants' accounts, and that our record-keeping companies that we currently contract with is Voya Financial, and we make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing per our contract as well. So I'm here today to answer any questions you might have about the program, as well as to solicit the opportunity for Lander County to adopt the program. There are some adoption issues, some things that we've talked to staff about regarding like loan provisions and things like that, that we would have to have a greater discussion if we wanted to go down that path. It's possible, but we would have to be the sole company that Lander County would have adopted for the plan in order for us to do some of those things, just for compliance purposes, right? And so the other cool thing that I want to mention to you is Governor Lombardo this year had us execute and create a brand new 401A plan as part of the program, which is really good for folks that are elected officials or maybe emergency hires that you might have in the county. Those individuals that might be receiving a public employee's pension plan already from retiring from government service. We actually have a program that the first 3 participants were Governor Lombardo, Lieutenant Governor Anthony, and one of the staff members from the governor's office. What it does is it allows those individuals that get exemptions through NRS 286 to be able to take that contribution that the county or the city or the state might be making on behalf of that individual, instead of giving it to PERS, which that individual won't receive any benefit from. They allow them to put it into the 401A plan so that when they finish their service to whatever entity they're elected to, They can have that money to utilize however they want, and we invest that the same exact way that we do in the regular deferred comp as well, program as well. So the nice thing about our investment options is we go out and we hand select what we feel are the best in class investment options in each investment category. We kind of take the guesswork out of investment management for the employee by creating this robust core investment lineup that each employee can choose from. So usually there's, in each investment category, there's maybe one or two investment options that we feel are kind of the best in class investment options. We benchmark those on a quarterly basis, me every day, but on a quarterly basis, the committee looks at them to make sure we're hitting those benchmarks, to make sure they're performing the way that we want them to perform. If they don't, then we put them on a watch list and we watch them for a while and we scrutinize the crud out of them. And if they don't continue to not perform, then we'll go on ahead and go out to and look for another fund and make that change on behalf of the participants. Participants don't have to really do anything. They just have to contribute. And so it's a great program that a lot of government employees across the state are engaging in. I listened to a podcast yesterday. I'll share this with everyone. It was a podcast of a guy who was a law enforcement official with a local county, and then he moved over to NSHE and became a kind of a administrative personnel. He was a program officer, I believe. Guy never made more than $65,000 in his career in a year, right? Yet he has a net worth of $2.8 million, and he told everybody how he did that utilizing deferred comp, which was kind of neat. So one of my colleagues from the state of Delaware who runs that program reached out to me and said, "Hey man, you got to check this out. They're talking about your guys' program." So it was pretty neat to see that. And the program has won multiple awards with our national associations. Plus, I serve on a congressional legislative committee for the National Association for Government Defined Contribution Administrators, where we drive policy for retirement reform and for driving financial wellness and retirement readiness here in the state of Nevada and across the country as well. So with that, I'd open it up for any questions that any of you might have.
Thank you, Rob. I do have a couple questions just to make sure I fully grasp and understand. So it becomes like a second retirement for employees? They have PERS and then they'd have this?
So this would be a supplemental retirement plan, a 457B plan, we call it, or 401A if you're making employer contributions. And what it does is it supplements the pension plan, because we know, and PERS puts this out in an annual report every year, that the average government employee only works maybe 18 to 19 years of service credit and gets about 50% income replacement, right, from their pension. And so that creates kind of a huge income gap, if you will, right, for that employee. And this program allows them to continue to contribute either pre-tax or after-tax. We have both a pre-tax traditional way of contribution, and we have an after-tax Roth contribution. The deferral limit for employees is $23,000 here in 2024. If you're over the age of 50, it's $30,500. So you can compare that to like investing privately, right? Like on your own with an IRA or something like that, with a retail money manager. You can actually put away a lot more in the deferred comp program than you can typically say with an IRA. So yes, it helps to supplement the pension plan so you can fill that income gap that we see is being created across the state.
So then on the county level, so is this something we would match, or is this strictly what employees want to contribute?
Is this, in my understanding, this is just what employees want to contribute.
Got you.
We are not matching, we're
Okay.
not paying anything.
So it's no cost to us per se, but it gives them an outlet for a supplemental.
So that's 100% accurate. Most of the counties and cities take on the program and say, hey, this is a voluntary program that our employees, we give as a benefit to our employees, right?
Mhm.
Whether they take advantage of it is up to them.
Gotcha.
We do have a decent number of cities and 2 counties that actually do provide matching employer contributions on behalf of bargaining units, maybe that sort of thing. We do allow that. We leave that up to you guys to bargain that, right? Of course, but we would accommodate something like that should we want to do that. We also have a number of cities that do automatic enrollment where they say, listen, you either have to opt out of the program or we're going to auto enroll you into that. We do accommodate that as well. We produce targeted communications on behalf of that entity to be able to make that happen. So I'm not saying, you guys have to do that or anything like that. If you choose to ever consider that, which I'll tell you, there's a bill draft request right now going to be coming up in the legislature where the state is actually looking at that as a compensatory provision to help enhance compensatory benefits for state of Nevada employees. We see that a lot with, especially in law enforcement and with public safety, fire departments, that sort of thing. So anyway, it's available we have all those provisions available. We're able to accommodate that. And then again, we do all the targeted messaging for your employee base. So we might work with your guys' HR staff to say, hey, listen, do you guys want us to do an analysis on retirement readiness for your employees? That might be something you may be interested in. If so, we make that happen for you at our cost. And so we'll target different demographics, whether it be racial demographics, male, female demographics, job classifications, where we'll look at those targeted demographics and say, hey, these people, this group is not even close to being ready for retirement, right? And so this is a way for you as a county to potentially give your employees a hand up, not a hand out, right? But help them out with developing retirement readiness.
Thank you, Rob. Are there any other questions from the commission?
I have a couple. What is the minimum? that they
So
can
the
put in?
minimum contribution, Rob Beamer for the record, again, I apologize about that. The minimum contribution is $35 per biweekly paycheck or $70 per month, depending upon how you guys are your pay cycle. I believe you guys are biweekly, correct? Yeah. So
And so their ROI on that is what?
say it again.
Their ROI, their return on investment from that?
Yeah, so currently right now, we have a robust investment lineup that consists of market securities, right? Some mutual funds. We have enough assets that we actually qualify for collective investment trusts with groups like Vanguard, for example. You'll see we have a lot of Vanguard investments in our core investment lineup. Why? Because they're one of the #1 mutual fund companies in the world, right? So they do a good job. But we also have a fixed rate investment that currently guarantees a minimum return on investment per annum of 3%. Okay. I'm happy to tell you that we just negotiated a new contract. We went out to RFP this year for that record keeping contract, and we were able to negotiate for the next term at least 5 years, 5 to 10 years, depending on what length of contract we execute. We'll have a guarantee of 3.6% guaranteed for the next, at least that time frame. That's a minimum, of course. We do have benchmarks that we utilize for that as well. So if the benchmarks go above 125 basis points above that 3.6 minimum floor, then they are required to increase that minimum guarantee, which is great. I figured it out for when we had this big bubble of interest gain in short-term rates and stuff, and we would have been, if we had those benchmarks previously, we would have been right at about 4.1%. So
And how long do they have to be vested? I mean, 5 years?
we have no vesting. Again, Rob Beamer for the record. We have no vesting period in the program. Employees can enroll anytime. We don't have any open enrollment or anything like that. And there's no vesting. They're vested immediately. Why? Because 100% of the contributions in the 457B plan are employee-driven contributions. Now, on the 401A plan, we currently do not have a vesting schedule either, even though those are employer contributions, because the majority, in fact, all 100% of all the contributions that are going into that plan are employer contributions that have to be paid under an electoral contract or under an exemption through NRS 286, which is per statute.
So if you retire and you want to keep going, you can roll it over to the 401A?
Well, we typically, we won't, typically we don't see that to 401A because only employer contributions could be made to that, right?
Yeah.
But like, great example would be, let's say you had an employee that retired and was receiving a pension and then say ran for a public office and became, I'm going to use you guys as an example, right? Became a county commissioner, and under your electoral contract, it specifically states that, I'm assuming that it states that the county will pay into Nevada Public Employees Retirement System on your behalf. But if you're already receiving a benefit, there's a lot of times you receive no benefit from that contribution the county's making. So what the governor has done is said, we want to make sure that our elected officials are receiving benefit from that, given the fact that we know how little you all get paid, right, to do what you do. I know the public doesn't recognize that, but certainly we see that. And we want to make sure that, your tenure as a public official, in this case, you'd be able to reap the benefit of those contributions according to your electoral contract.
Any other questions from the commission? Does the public have any questions? Okay. What direction you guys want to move on this? Is there a motion?
I motion that we approve Lander County becoming a political subdivision of the Nevada Public Employees Deferred Compensation Program.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? We have a motion and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Rob.
Yeah, you bet. Just if I could, if I may, Mr. Chair, this does require us to go back after we've executed the interlocal agreement that you all should have as part of your supporting material. We do put a line on for your district attorney should he or she decide that they would like to review that and sign off on that as well as whoever you authorize to execute contracts on behalf of the county. Again, there's no cost really. It's a mutual contract, and you can terminate that with 90 days notice. We mutually can do that for each other. Just so you know, hopefully you've gotten a chance to take a look at the agreement. But once we get that agreement, we will be putting that on our committee agenda for approval. The committee has to formally approve that on behalf of the governor. I can assure you they're going to, likely. And so that'll happen actually at the end of August. So if we can get that everything back to us by that time, we'll put that on the agenda.
So I know your meeting's coming up close, so I don't know how long you were going to stay here. I was going to say maybe on a break, we can get that signature and get it to you before you take off.
I can do that. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, we'll circle back to 1.2 for discussion and possible action regarding possible options to address people who are loitering in Lander County.
It's a crime for any person who has no legitimate reason to be around children to loiter in an area where children are often present. The statute uses the term anyone who does not have a legitimate reason to supervise children. This would generally mean that you are not staff, a parent, or a parent authorized to pick up a child. The statute also requires a person loitering have no legitimate reason to be at leisure in the area. For example, children congregating at the city parks. And that's really what I want to talk about is the loitering we have right now at our parks. If a person is walking on a trail in the public park, they have a legitimate reason to be there and would not be guilty of the crime. It's a fairly straightforward crime. If you have no business with the children in an area, you cannot loiter where the children are. And obviously you understand the purpose, it's to protect our youth. I live across the street from Lions Park. It seems to be the most popular park for loitering. I believe it's because it's probably a little more secure with the trees, and you don't get as much traveling as you do, say, at Oakwood Park. And with Borealis, you've got a lot of families living right around the park, so it's more visible. And I know we've talked with the deputies. They've been great. When we've called in the past, they go and they make them uncomfortable. But at this time, it's really we've seen an uptick. And with that uptick, we've seen that there's fewer and fewer children and families coming to the park. So the whole purpose of a county park is for our community to enjoy it. And we currently have a man that he leaves at night. He knows the law. So he leaves at night and parks over across from Lemaire, and then he comes every morning and spends the entire he's there now, from about 7 in the morning till maybe about 11 o'clock at night, and then he leaves. And this has been happening for probably working on our 3rd month. Now there's another one who comes every couple of days. I don't know where he goes. They bump around, but he'll come for maybe at 12 hours and then leave. It's very uncomfortable. NRS does protect us, and I know loitering is a tricky one, so I don't know if maybe the county can look at an ordinance that gives it more teeth. But I know that in the past, when we have called law enforcement, they do make them uncomfortable. But this gentleman we have right now doesn't care. And because the police have talked to him. I'm speaking for my whole neighborhood, by the way, just so you know. So we have a gentleman that lives on our block that went up and offered him to stay in his back kind of mother-in-law quarters at his house. It's right next to us. He even said, this is so uncomfortable for us. Kids don't come anymore. We want to give our park back. Would you be interested in staying at this little place in my backyard? And he said, no, I like it here. So we have to do something, because as the economy gets more interesting, I think we're going to see an uptick in this. I think we're going to see more and more people coming to our wonderful, cute town, and it's a great place, and people are kind, people feed them. And so I would just ask the county to consider either an ordinance or something to tighten this up, because if we do something like you can stay 4 hours, but you ultimately really have no reason to be there, those 4 hours, kids and families don't come. Another thing they'll do is they'll come for the 4 hours, maybe leave for an hour and come back for the 4 hours. These people understand what happens. Yes, it happens a lot at Lions Club Park. And I think Cole talked to Sean a little bit about it. And I've talked to the deputies a lot about it. And it's kind of off the beaten path. So I'm just asking you as a consider the purpose of our parks. And it's like Colt and I've talked, if they were in front of Lions Club Park for 15 hours, it just wouldn't happen. I mean, not Lions Club, Elquist Park, right? They'd get run out somehow. We wouldn't tolerate it. So we just have to be aware that even though Lions Park is not as visible, it is uncomfortable for the people on our side of town. The kids are just not coming anymore. And to me, that's heartbreaking.
So I have some questions, I guess, before Bill. So I'm with Amy as well. I mean, you can drive to neighboring cities and you can see the uptick in homelessness. You drive into Reno off to the left, it's worse and worse every time I drive by. And I just think with the economy, the state of things, I think it's going to get worse. And Battle Mountain's a tank of gas from Sacramento. I mean, a lot of surrounding areas. And it's just, I think it'd be smart to be prepared for that. But my question is, what determines loitering? I mean, maybe this guy has a legitimate, maybe he's just saying, I like to come to the park because it's peaceful and it's my right. It's a public place. How do you get around something like that?
You've exactly hit the problem that the courts are concerned with, and it's why our long-standing vagrancy statute finally just plain got repealed. But it got hammered due to abuse. I don't know. I always thought it was a popular book, but there's a book called Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas that lots of people heard of. And there's a little section in there about 2 or 3 pages talking about hippies being picked up for no good reason on the vagrancy statute. It's just an aside note, but that book and what happened to those hippies played into the targeting of our long-term vagrancy statute. We'd abused it. And the problem is when we abuse things, then we lose the ability to do them at all. And we've kind of gone too far. I mean, you know how things are. They go too far one way, then they go too far the other way. And I think we've gone too far the other way at this point. But the question is, what can we do within current law? This is about the closest we can come. The point of loitering is you have to have a purpose in what you're doing. I think most of us are familiar with loitering at a store, for example. If you're not buying things, you're not shopping, they move you out and they use the loitering statute for that. I believe that the purpose of this particular loitering statute was that the areas where children are for children and for playing. You're not involved in that. They use the loitering statute to hopefully keep you, in case you are thinking of something much worse, from getting to where you want to go. And I think that's what the general purpose was. We can look at using it as is, and I can also look into what I think we can do. I'll get with Mike and I'll check with other DAs. But obviously, like you mentioned, the homelessness problem is getting worse everywhere, because I've seen the same things you have. You go to Reno, it's ridiculous. But you even see signs of it, Elko and other places. So that's about all I can say, that maybe come back and report on something and see what we can do. But
So we have this.
I've talked with some people here a little bit. We just barely got started on it. And about the only thing I do know is that the old vagrancy statute is no more.
Is that the NRS 207.270? Or is
The old vagrancy statute was in 207. I forget what the number was. It was completely repealed about 4 or 5 years ago.
I just have this printout here. So is this a
Yeah,
valid?
that's a valid NRS? I was going to look into.
Okay.
You know, that one we may be able to do something with now. The question is whether it really fits the purpose of the statute. That's why I'm saying we may be able to. Please don't jump that there is a solution.
Can I say one more thing, Glenn?
Sure.
Well, I definitely believe that we need to keep our public places safe for the public. Number one, that's priority. But then it gets into my question, as it was posed to Bill, is like, what can we legally do? I mean, it's like a public place, a person's constitutional rights. And it's like, if the person has a purpose, well, who's determine my purpose? If I'm there and my purpose is I just enjoy it and I'm homeless right now and it's a public place and I'm not hurting anything, how is that against the law?
Here's where this particular law applies, where children congregate. Will we allow them in front of a school? Do you want them hanging out at the pool? Do you want them places where children, so they can go over by Belostegi Park. We're cleaning over there, as a matter of fact, this morning, and there's trees and it's beautiful. We can even put in a water spigot for them because children don't congregate there. That's the key. We're not saying we're going to go pound on everybody loitering, because loitering is a tricky one. But where children congregate is defined in NRS. And that's where we have teeth. I'm not trying to be not compassionate. I feel for these people.
No, absolutely.
Perhaps we can even take them over by the RV area and put in, an outhouse and a water spigot and say, because there are homeless, but they're not where children congregate. They're along the river over by Reno. They're all over the place, but they're not at parks. They're not at swimming pools. They're not at the duck pond. They won't allow it in these other towns, but they aren't, but there's, they can't avoid loitering. It's just loitering where we have public places where children are expected to congregate.
And I agree with Amy, because after Colt came up to me a few weeks ago, I started driving around and, the Lions Club Park is deserted and I see the people exactly who you're talking to, and I walk, I don't walk, I drive, we drive through there and watch. And even the people who take their dogs for walks normally or use a dog park, the people from out of town will use it, but people locally that use it are not using that anymore because they're fearful of that one of those specific people are a little, I wouldn't go over there either because he's
No.
just it's a little unnerving.
And
So
what's-
I agree that exactly where, children congregate, I would have to agree 150%.
And on Kathy's point, sometimes kids go over there unsupervised,
Huh?
the folks that live over, and they're still doing that. And that's even scarier. I'll just sit outside on my porch and watch because I'm like, holy moly.
Mike?
Thank you, Chairman. Mike, Deputy District Attorney for the record. Couple things. I agree with Mr. Schaefer that we need to look into this, but I wanted to touch base on a couple comments that Ms. Nelson indicated. She concluded and opined that the statute clearly can apply to the parks and that the statute defines where children congregate. I caution that is not the case. Quite frankly, children can be found everywhere. And so the other question is what is the purpose of our parks? Is the park only designated for children, or is it for adult use also? And so if you're saying, yeah, it's okay for an adult to go there and participate in certain functions, which I believe it currently is, because I've attended various functions at Borealis, Lions, Elquist, and so then the real question, as Mr. Schaefer was indicating, and I think you commented as well, Mr. Chair, who defines or who determines, even if we have an ordinance, and that puts the law enforcement in a tough spot of saying, well, it's subjective. I don't think that person has a legitimate business versus, somebody driving through and wants to sleep 10 hours at the park. What's the difference? And so those, I want to caution, I believe it's as black and white as Ms. Nelson indicates, and Mr. Schaefer and I will look into it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Commission, do you have any other questions? Does the public have any questions or comments on the issue? So I guess at this point, maybe it's just we give direction to staff to let's further look at this and see if we can come up with something that would, I think, protect what we all have in mind, and that would be legal.
And let me just, for the record, I'm gonna just read NRS. NRS 207.270 is a Nevada law that makes it a misdemeanor to loiter near schools or any public locale populated by children, such as parks. The penalty is up to 6 months in jail and/or up to $1,000 in fines. The most common defense is the defendant has a legitimate reason to be at that location. I just want that in the record.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah, thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. So, yeah, Bill, we'll let you do some homework on it, and if that's,
We will look into it. I'll try to come up with something. I'm not sure what, but we'll try to come up with something.
that NRS, I don't see why we couldn't actively right now hang signs in our parks because of that, and around the duck pond and.
Commission wants, we can have signs made in.
Bill, do you think that would be okay to do? And then if we further research to see if there's any other thing that we might add to it?
I don't like wasting money. Give us just a little bit
Okay.
of time to look into it, but, and I don't know, I don't think the commission has to have the approval. I just simply, if Sean and Mike, or Sean and Bert agree, they can just command that it get done and the signs will be made, so we don't need to necessarily come back to you.
Okay, that's fine. So that's what we're gonna do.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. If there's no more, we're gonna move on to 1.4. Information only, update regarding county investments and how funds are being invested. So, no, go ahead.
forward with Neem, and our treasurer, Ms. Johnson, is having with him on getting everything set up for. This should all be buttoned up by the end of the month, so we'll have, hopefully Neem will be here in a month to get. Neem has been highly recommended. We have also been working on them prior to the maturity date. This coming year, we have just over 12 million. This will allow us to start all of our projects when we will have a much larger amount coming due. I would like to be clear that this does not 4.5 million for the fire and EMS station, along with a few in the works. We are hopeful for bringing our expendable funds to roughly 19 million for the upcoming year. We can accomplish a lot with this and not be penalized in the process. As we come into budget season this coming year, we will be before the commission with what funds are coming due, what the best options of investments, market standing, so we can leverage our investments. This is the first time Lander County has collectively worked together with our investors, treasurers, commissioners, public works departments, and finance, moving in unity to spend as our investments come to full maturity. We are very excited to bring future updates to this commission and community as we better our spending practices and understand the investments and expenditure process. Ms. Johnson has been on the phone with Neem yesterday, and hopefully we will have them here, not the next commission meeting, but the meeting after, to give you guys an update on our portfolio and what they're investing the money in.
I know to move the 70 million, we're getting out of one investment going into another. So I'd just be interested to know some, maybe the meetings that you have prior to our next commission meeting, we could find out with the stock market falling 1,000 points, uneasiness in the Middle East, presidential election year. How does all equate to us dropping out of what we're currently in? I mean, does it make it more high risk?
Right.
At this particular point in time versus just weathering the storm and then maybe, you know?
Waiting to change.
Yeah,
our
that
investments.
just.
So I'll have that for an update at the next meeting, and then I'll have those answers for you, Brian.
Okay, awesome. Are there any other questions from the commission? Okay. Public have any questions? All right, great. Thanks, Sean. So on 1.5, do we have Brian, our attorney, waiting to speak on this issue, or? But my point is, if we can defer it, if we're not waiting, we do some other items.
They are waiting.
Okay.
And he's gonna.
Yeah, we need to have a meeting for litigation.
Okay. All right, so we're going to basically just go on a break at this point. We're going to have a litigation meeting, and then we'll come back out and continue on with our agenda.
Need help holding your chair back?
You can slide it out. It's the pushing back in that I can't ever. Yeah.
This conference will now be recorded.
On the potential projects with the Battle Mountain Hydrogen. Do we have somebody on the phone for that? Okay, so we'll just bounce off that and we'll circle back to it if they come back on. So we'll go to item 1.14, discussion of possible action. Okay, good. So we're going to go back to 1.5 and for the update.
Cody, can you unmute yourself?
Cody, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. So you're going to give us an update on the Battle Mountain Hydrogen project?
That was Lance Earl. Is he on the line still?
No.
Lance Earl from my office. I spoke to him earlier before you guys, or when you broke. He was speaking to the Battle Mountain Hydrogen project.
Cody, he's not on. He jumped off.
I will text him now if you want to come back to that one and then table it for the moment.
That's fine. All right, sorry, guys, we're gonna move to 1.1 forward for discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove the temporary road closure for the high school homecoming parade starting on Forest Avenue, heading west on East Front Street, left on South Broad Street, and ending in the high school parking lot. The parade will take place on September 27th, 2024 at 12 p.m.
Hi, I'm Heather Frankum. I'm here for the Battle Mountain High School. We're just needing to get the road closure approval for our homecoming parade this year. It is on Friday, September 27th, starting at noon. And because we are going down Front Street and South Broad Street, then we do have to put in a permit requirement through the state for that. And they are asking that we have the commissioner or a board signature on that before they'll do the approval process. It's a little bit different than we've had to do in the past. So we just need that signature for that.
Can't believe we're already having another homecoming.
I
Seems like
can't
it just
believe
happened.
it either. It feels like we just did it.
Yeah, so, does the commission have any questions on this? Pretty standard. Okay.
Same route as we've always done.
Public have any questions on it? Okay, I'll hear a motion.
I motion we approve the road closure for the homecoming parade.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, there you are.
Thank you. Were you able to sign that and give me that paper now, or do you want me to get it later? Okay. All right.
Yeah,
And we
so-
have Ron's. Ron's already signed. Okay. All right. We'll check back with you then. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna circle back to 1.5. All right. Do we have Ryan here with the Girls and Boys Club? Yes. Okay, great. So we're gonna jump to 1.8, information only, update from the Boys and Girls Club of Elko with Ryan Buka. Is that how you say it? And Rusty Barr regarding childcare or other services for young and school-age children.
Ryan's struggling with his back here, so we'll get him up here. So my name's Rusty. I'm the CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs in Elko, and really in charge of the whole region from Battle Mountain over through Windover. So I just want to tell you a little bit about what we do. Right now, we have a club in Elko. We have about 2,000 members in that club. We have a club in Spring Creek. And not only is that a Boys and Girls Club, it also has a child care center on that. We have 2 child care centers, one in Elko, one in Spring Creek. We also have a fitness center in the Spring Creek one, so it's more of a rec center than just a Boys and Girls Club. So we have adult members, and it also has a recreational component to it. It has an 18-hole miniature golf course. It's got a bank shot basketball course coming, and we're getting a water park spray pad put in there as well. We do have a club in Wells that we run right now. We do our before school, our after school, our summer camp. We are open early in the morning at 4 a.m. and go until 8 o'clock at night. And we, like I said, we have the child care center, so we're infants through the school age with those programs. We are building a rec center right now, so we've collaborated with the city of Elko and several different partners. Nevada Gold Mines contributed $10 million to that project. And we are in construction right now, which will have 3 pools, 2 indoor pools and an outdoor pool, a gymnasium, full fitness center with all the fitness equipment. And so that'll open up here this next summer. We also are building an event center, a 6,000 seat arena, a place where we can run the Silver State Stampede, concerts, events, and things like that. And so yesterday at the county commission meeting, we finalized a $15 million commitment from them to be the lead gift on that project as well. We also are expanding our branches. So we are building going in with the city of Windover and the Windover Recreation District to build a rec center together with the Boys and Girls Club in Windover. And we're putting a club in Carlin. That's going at the community center right now. And then we're looking at the conservation camp as the next phase of that expansion. But now Battle Mountain. We've been involved with Battle Mountain for several years, over 10 years actually, doing programming back and forth and sport programs and things like that. And now our vision is to come into this community with a Boys and Girls Club program to start serving where the gaps in this community are. So we've met with your school district, we've been meeting with your city or your county officials, and it looked like the number one need right off the bat was childcare. And so that's where we're going to start. We are going to do a school age program as well. We'll be open until 8 o'clock. So we'll be picking children up from the schools, transporting them to the program there. We do have a sport program that goes throughout the entire region where Windover plays Wells and Wells plays Spring Creek and Spring Creek plays Elko and so on. And we used to have Battle Mountain in that. And so we hope that they'll get back involved in doing a little bit of travel with their basketball and those types of things there. But childcare will be our number one thing. So we do have several steps that we've done. We did do a community assessment and some surveys, meetings, things like that to see if the need was still there. And obviously the need came back at over 98% that there was a need for these services in the community. We then took that to our board of directors voted unanimously to move forward with a club in Battle Mountain. So then we started looking at the best location. And so we met with the rec department and different, could we be at the current rec center? Where would that fit? And we think the best fit for that is at the current kids club building for the childcare. They already have a childcare in there that's operating. You've got the High Desert Educational Association in the current old courthouse there. And so we met with both those groups. The Kids Club has voted unanimously to turn their program over to the Boys and Girls Club. And so we would be taking that over. And then we've been working with the High Desert Education. They have agreed to let us use the building with them because they're at different times. And so we hope to have a lease on that. We've been working with your county officials. And I think by next week, the homeschool group said they would get their letter by Tuesday to you. So by Tuesday, we'll have that, and they've already got the lease in place, and then hopefully we can move forward. We have worked with childcare licensing, and so they are ready for us to take over as soon as the lease is in place. Boys and Girls Club of America has agreed to charter this branch, and so we met with all the other clubs in the state, Reno and them, and it was determined that Elko was the best club to take the Battle Mountain service area. So that is complete. It actually got finalized yesterday. We have secured funding. So we will have to do renovations of about $1 million. And at this point, most of that $1 million is funded. So the state of Nevada did give us a $500,000 right off the bat, Governor Lombardo's office, to come serve this community. And we also got approved to be a Nevada Ready site. So anybody in any financial need will be fully funded to be able to participate in any of our childcare and those types of things. So from a funding standpoint, we're ready to do renovations. We have hired our contractor. So Michael Clay will be the contractor to do any renovations that are needed. We do have a renovation plan that's put in place. We've shared that with them, but we're waiting for the lease to get in place. Once that's done, you'll see a brand new playground come in over there. The building, we need to add another bathroom so children and staff don't use the same bathroom. So we've got about $1 million repainting the building, fixing the ceiling, just getting that building, opening it up so our ratios are proper and different things like that. So we are going to be investing not only there, but on the other side, the courthouse side, helping not just for us, but the High Desert Education, getting those areas. We're going to share spaces. So like the downstairs multi-purpose room, we want to open that up to a more, open floor plan. And so different things like that. So our contractors worked and put a plan in place for that as well. And again, we meet with Nevada Gold Mines. We do believe that this probably will be named the Nevada Gold Mines, and their upper management has been working with us. We do go to your CDC meeting next week, and hopefully we'll finalize that. So then we hope to open this building immediately. So right now we're in limbo. Our child care director has been working with that child care department right now but they still have ownership of that and have to have ownership of that until the lease is in place. Once the lease is in place, then we have insurance ready to pull. That's already been done. So this could happen on Tuesday night, or it could happen in a month. It's really at the mercy of that lease agreement, which is at the mercy right now of the kids club. When that all comes together that minute, then we'll take ownership. We'll come in. Initially, you won't see it being a Boys and Girls Club. We'll do our renovations, keep the program almost the way that it is. And then we'll probably come in with our branding and our full program model here later on in this year in November, December, once the playground renovations, all of that. We're in contract for the playgrounds right now, so we think they'll be in September, October. But so that's kind of what we're doing. We just wanted to give you an update. We told the Elko people we'd talk for an hour, but I guess our presentation's up. So.
I have some questions as far
Okay.
as like the cost. Obviously, we know that there's childcare. So the fees that the families are going to be charged, are those the same as what they're being charged now? Or how does that work? Because I have no idea how the childcare portion works under Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, they're very similar. The only difference with us will be that the Boys and Girls Club will provide all of our programs regardless of ability to pay.
Okay.
So that'll be the only difference, where the current program, you know, they have to have that funding. And I'm not saying we don't either. We're coming into this program knowing that we're going to lose money in that amount. We know that, right? But that's not our goal. Our goal is to serve. So basically the fee structures will be very similar. The only difference, like I said, is if somebody can't afford to pay, they're going to still get those services. We're not, you know, so yes.
So the other question was, I'd gone over and did the tour of the Winnemucca one some time ago, and how they're after school, they like have an after school program, and they actually, it's amazing. That is the only one I've ever been in too, and how kids come right after school. A ton of them come out and they're fed, and they have a computer room, and they have all of that to where there is people helping them with their homeworks, and they're fed. And is that something that is a future idea out?
Well, probably not future, probably right away. So just so you know, I'm the one that raised the money for the Winnemucca and did that project.
It's an incredible,
So, yeah,
well,
that's a great building.
that is that's an incredible program. So nice job, because it really is just I had no idea that's.
Yeah, so we will do that here, and at a future meeting, we're going to come make an ask to you. Not really financially. The one thing that your staff's kind of agreed to help is they have the mulch for the playground. So they're going to help us with that there. But you also have a computer lab sitting down in that building that's not being utilized at all, with all the computers still in boxes and everything. So, you know, our hope is to come back to you and say, hey, could we, if we pay the money to get it all hardwired and, you know, get it up, could the kids start using that? And so, yes, we will have a full after school program where they can come there. We will do exactly what you just said, just like all of our clubs do throughout the country.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other questions for Rusty or Ryan?
Nope.
Does the community have any questions for him? All right. Well, thank you guys.
Commissioner,
Sean?
just to touch on this real quick, we are waiting on the cancellation contract from the current kids club. Should have that next week, and then we'll have the lease for the Boys and Girls Club between the Boys and Girls Club and the county back before you, hopefully the next commission meeting.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you guys.
Yeah, and as soon as we do, we'll be off and running. We're ready to do construction. We have the money in hand and our contractor's ready to go. We were going to start last Saturday, but we just couldn't get this agreement in place. So as soon as we get that, then we'll start pulling the trigger and away we'll go.
When it's ready to go, I'd like to do a tour, so if you'll let us know. I would love to go in and see it after you guys have completed all of your.
Oh, great.
Please.
And I didn't introduce, this is Ryan Honey. We had it wrong on the thing, but it's Ryan Honey. And he is our director of operations, and he's in charge of the exterior branches. So we'll have a branch director here, and our head child care director will oversee the child care now. And she's been working with them, but you'll see Ryan a lot more than you will me. Not that you won't see me, but he will be directly in charge of this area.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Okay, we're going to jump to 1.10, information only, presentation by members of Flight Alliance of Northeastern Nevada, FAN, an organization formed with the mission to maintain and expand accessible, sustainable commercial air services at the Elko Regional Airport.
It's 1.1.
1.10. 1-0. So 10. Good morning.
Good morning. For the record, I'm Rex Stenninger, representing the Elko County Commission. And I'm here today, and I noticed on your agenda that we're down for 2 items. I didn't realize that was going to be that. But we're here today to ask you to join our effort to maintain and expand the air service at the Elko Airport. And for the past 2 years, SkyWest has required.
Yeah, Rex, I'm going to go ahead and open up 11 with it as well. So,
okay, thanks.
For discussion of possible action to approve, disapprove Lander County being a partner and member of Flight Alliance of Northeastern Nevada, FAN, in an amount not to exceed $250,000 to assist in the mission of sustainable commercial air service. Commercial air service is critical to this region for a number of reasons, including economic development.
Thank you. Like I said, for the past 2 years, SkyWest has required what they call a minimal rate guarantee. So it's a fancy word for a subsidy. And they, in exchange for keeping the air service as is. Last year, that MRG was $1 million. And I always thought that was unfair that the city of Elko had to shoulder that burden by themselves when the Elko County and the surrounding counties depend on that air service. All our industries depend on that air service. So our commission agreed to split that cost with the city, and we donated $500,000 last year. And we intend to continue that support. And our hope is we can convince you to join the effort. We're also going to try to get Eureka County to join the effort. And we'll also go to all the industries, get them to contribute to us. If we get enough support, we hope to convince SkyWest to offer a second flight to Salt Lake in the afternoon. Now we just have the morning flight at 6:30 in the morning. So we get a second flight in the afternoon. We're hoping to get service to Reno and also hopefully Las Vegas. We were recently told by one of our drilling companies that they are currently paying $20,000 a month to transport their drillers to Salt Lake City every afternoon so those drillers can get flights home. Like I said earlier, our only flight is 6:30 in the morning, and that works great for those of us that want to get to Salt Lake and make connections elsewhere. But that requires the drillers to spend an extra night in Elko, and so they're spending $20,000 a month to accommodate that. So we think that money could be much better spent by helping us expand the air service. And you know, that's just one company, but it's a good illustration of how important that air service is to the mining industry, which our entire region depends upon. And I've got our county manager, Amanda Osborne, here. She's got a PowerPoint that she can go through. And we also have the city manager, Jan Baum, came with us, and she can answer any financial questions that we can answer.
So just a couple of questions. Just for some of the commission, you probably remember, but our airport consultant, that was one of the questions I asked him. So what could we do to get commercial, like air service here in Battle Mountain? He says this is just not a cost feasible thing for this thing, right? For Lander County. But I mean, for economic development, the mines, and I know that the Elko Airport gets used a lot. People fly in and out. So my question is, so this $1 million, so explain that to me again. This is what SkyWest, it's like their buy-in to keep them here. Is that what it is, or what is it exactly?
Yeah, so Amanda Osborne for the record. Basically, the MRG, or the minimum revenue guarantee, is required for us to have the contract with SkyWest to provide the service. But what it really comes down to is after COVID, there was a national pilot shortage. And so airlines were reluctant to service regional airports, especially those that are in at-risk markets, which we are. And the reason why we're an at-risk market is primarily those who use the airline are business travelers. It's not really a leisure market for Elko Regional Airport. And so because we're an at-risk market, that means that they're at risk of losing revenue by providing service to our regional airport. And so that MRG basically closes that gap in terms of that revenue loss or potential revenue loss for them. And so that's the reason why we have that in place.
So let's say, so you said you're going to ask neighboring counties and other business associates to buy in on this minimal rate guarantee. I mean, is this, and then you're talking about adding a second flight, is there any chance in the future that we could develop it even more to where it becomes more, I mean, like, cause it's for like business type stuff, to where you were like, advertising that it could be for personal type things, you know, it's like, you know, I have to drive to Salt Lake City, you know, for me, typically, it's just because it doesn't fit my schedule necessarily fly out of Elko then to Salt Lake City. But could it be, I guess, where I'm after more than 2 flights a day? Is that something that could potentially be?
You bet. So currently, the Elko Regional Airport through the city of Elko has just applied for a grant to expand that service and bring back that midday flight. It is a 2-year grant, $400,000 each year. And so that is part of FAN's mission. So let me back up just a little bit. One of the reasons why FAN was created is because the Elko Regional Airport cannot directly subsidize the flights. We've been able to do that for a short period of time over the last couple of years because of COVID and with the CARES Act funding and all of that. But it is actually against FAA regulations for them to directly subsidize those flights or to provide incentives for commercial airlines to come into the area. So that was the reason why we created the 501c6, was so that we could provide funding to FAN. FAN is actually the one who has that agreement, and we'll continue to work obviously closely between the city and the county and the private partners to expand that air service. And so we're in the process of doing that now, but it will greatly depend on getting some grant funding to at least get it back off the grant.
Okay, thank you. Does the commission have any other questions or?
So you're only flying to Salt Lake once a day?
Correct. So the flight goes out in the morning and then there's a return flight in the evening.
There is now, or is there just one way now? Is there in the morning and then the evening now currently? Okay.
Yeah, flies out in the morning and returns in the evening.
And is there any other flights that come in?
No.
Not commercial flights. There is some general aviation that occurs, but commercial air service, that's the only flight.
Is the demand there now to support a second flight?
We believe so.
Yeah, I think that's evident by the drilling company that's paying $20,000 a month to bus their employees.
And how close are you to being able to do Reno and Vegas? Vegas would be
And it depends on the financial support we can get from everybody.
Right. And so, you know, the air service in general, especially rural air service, has been a conversation in the legislation, in the legislative sessions for the last couple of years. There was an initiative in front of them last year where there was a proposal for some funding. Unfortunately, that piece didn't pass, but we do hope that we'll continue that conversation. Assemblyman Burt Gurr has been very supportive of that. And so that's another thing that's really not monetary that you all can help us with, is as we move through the legislative session, we'll certainly be reaching out to Burt and also you all if you'd like, but we do definitely need that support when it comes to working with our state legislators as well as our federal delegation.
And me personally have taken those flights countless times under medical for going to Salt Lake. And then on to Seattle or whatever, I've had to take those flights countless times because for medical purposes. So those are utilized. I mean, not that that's gonna support that, but those are truly utilized more for than people realize for, especially for, it is a wonderful service, and it's too bad, like everything else, that COVID had to ruin everything, had to stick its fingers in and ruin everything for everyone. So that's all I have to say.
Any other questions from the commission? Does community members have anything to say on it? Yes.
For the record, Rusty Barr with the Boys and Girls Club. I just wanted to make one other comment on the air service. We run pretty much all the concerts, and now we're doing the event center. So we have relationships with all of the top artists in the country, really, those groups. They won't come into your community, and I know you're looking at doing an event center yourself. Unless you have an airport within an hour and a half away, you're not going to be able to get major acts into here. You'll be able to get lower level bands, but you won't be able to bring in bands. So the head artist, the bands will fly into Salt Lake and drive, but the artist himself won't. So just something to consider if you're trying to run events here in the future, which you are, you're going to need air service to be able to really get any of your major acts to come into here. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess too, to add to that, we've had several conversations with our healthcare community as well. And just recently in Elko, we've had the community health center open, which is provides surgeries and also some primary care. And there are a number of physicians that would like to come and serve as Elko and our surrounding communities. But the reality is that the transportation just isn't there. And so that's another aspect outside of economic development, is just making sure we have those basic services and resources available to our communities.
Yeah, so I guess, I think it's an agreed, it's economically, it's smart, right? We just need to decide if it's $250,000 worth kicking towards it, right? That we want to kick to it. And then budgetarily, Lakin, is that, if we decided to do something like that, do we have an area in the budget where we could pull that?
Yeah,
we
we
did budget for
approved it
this,
during
okay.
the budget hearings.
I have no further questions. No other questions? Is there a motion?
Well, I'll make the motion that we approve the $250,000 to support the Flight Alliance of Northern Nevada. And hopefully that is the more buy-in that you guys get, that when you come back next year, that our portion will be smaller, that the more that you find out. If these drilling companies utilize this, then they should be helping, so whether it's split. So I'll make the motion that for this year that we do the 250,000 and see where,
Okay.
I second it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, there you guys go.
Thank you. And just one other comment, we are doing a community presentation August 22nd at 4 o'clock at the Elko Convention Center. You are all invited, and if you have anybody who might be interested, please invite them as well.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so.
May I make a quick comment?
Oh, yes.
Jan Baum, City Manager of Elko, City of Elko, and I just want to tell you, Mr. Chairman and the Commission, thank you. And if you ever have any questions on the airport or need a tour or anything like that, we'd be happy to entertain that. And I believe all of you may have received an email with the invite to the fan event on August 22nd.
So Jan, with all of that, something that might be put out there is we have quite a few kids that are in the military that fly back and forth and home, and our daughter utilizes in the small scope of things. I don't think people realize, but when we have our daughter flying from California, she always, that's how she has to come through, was through Elko. And so that is also used for the military, for getting kids back and forth and family members back and forth. So that might be something that you utilize for a bigger picture. Look, this is the bigger picture of what this airport truly is used for. So
yeah, that is actually great input, and we don't have that on our presentation, I think, so we could definitely add that. And that's why we've been including Bert as well in our board, because we need input from all of the catchment area and all partners that use the airport, because there are so many different interests and, like you said, there's just, and the healthcare on both sides, people using it to go get specialized healthcare, and then pulling the doctors in for our small communities. And like Amanda touched on the legislative effort, the state of Nevada is behind on our air service for our rural communities, and it's a hardship for us. And creating that triangle for Reno, Vegas, Elko, those are the three major air service partners in our state, and it's very important that we get that triangle going. And so we're going to hit it again this legislative session, and they have formed the commission, the Air Service Commission, and which is a good first start. And now they're putting together an effort to have a study done showing how much we need this air service and what a hardship it is for our communities in the rurals. So hopefully that gets us somewhere.
All right, very good, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kathy. Thank you.
All right, everybody doing okay? Do we need a break? Keep moving along.
Keep going.
Okay, we'll move on to 1.6 for discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove, modifying the dates or canceling commissioner meetings set for September 26, 2024, October 10th, 2024, November 28th, 2024, and December 26th, 2024.
So commissioners, I'll give the update on this one. On September 26th, that is a NACO presentation. I do believe you have a commissioner and your county manager and assistant county manager that are going to be gone, as well as both of your legals will be gone at a conference. On October 10th, everybody will be here except for your legals will both be gone. I have spoke with Mr. Schaefer regarding it. He has said that he doesn't have an issue stepping out and doing that meeting by phone. As far as November and December, those are just our normal holiday meetings.
Thank you. All right, so on the 26th meeting, Sean, do you know, is there anything that's burning out there that we're going to need to address, or is it something that we could just drop that meeting entirely? I've got a busy September.
I believe we can drop the 26th, Commissioner.
Okay. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm all right with that.
I'm good with that.
Okay, so we'll cancel the September meeting. The October meeting, I'd like to continue to have it if Bill's willing to set in via phone to get us through that.
I'll do that if you need to, yeah.
Okay. And then November 28th. That is, when do you want to, that's Thanksgiving, so.
Normally, in past years, we've always just canceled the second meetings in
Just did
November,
in December?
or you can move them and change it.
So I think we could probably just cancel them at this point, and then if there a need arises.
And if there is a need arises, we can always throw on. a
Right,
special.
okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'll hear a motion.
What about December?
We usually cancel the second meeting in
Okay.
December, and then if need be, we can always reapply it, so.
Right.
I'll hear a motion.
Well, I got this right. We're gonna have September, October 10th, and
No, October 10th stays, right?
those are the ones that we will have.
Yeah, October will stay. September, we're gonna cancel that meeting because we're gonna have 5 people gone. And then we're just going to cancel the second meetings in both November and December due to holidays, and that's what we've always done historically.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we cancel September 26th, November 28th, and December 26th.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll move on to 1.7 for discussion of possible action to approve, disapprove the settlement agreement and mutual release between Lander County, Core Construction Services of Nevada Incorporated, and Van Wert Brigade Architects concerning various purported construction issues as alleged in case 15CB-CCR-2020-0130 in the 11th Judicial District Court of the State of Nevada in and for the County of Lander, and later removed to binding arbitration before mutually selected arbitrator Judge David Gamble, retired, concerning the properties located at 50 State Route 305, Battle Mountain, Nevada, County Building / Courthouse, 560 Altenburg Avenue, Battle Mountain, Nevada, Recreation Center, and 205 Fairway Drive, Battle Mountain, Nevada, Mountain View Golf Course, in the amount of $400,000 to be paid to Lander County. So do we have anybody on the phone for that?
I believe Cody is giving an update for this.
Cody, are you there? Cody, can you hear us? Hello, Cody. Okay, we'll circle back to it. We'll move on to 1.9 for discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove the reappointment of 2 individuals to serve on the Austin Airport Advisory Board, which currently has 2 openings. New terms are from July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2026. And our applicants are Ray H. Williams Jr. and Tom Anderson.
They have been on the airport board forever.
Okay.
I motion that we approve the reappointment of Ray Williams and Tom Anderson.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We'll move on to item 12 for discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove the bid award to the 2024 Preventive Maintenance Program, PWP-LA-2024-448, to repave multiple roads within the Hilltop area of Battle Mountain. 1, Sierra Nevada Construction, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $1,711,007. Hello, guys.
Good morning, Commission. Don Prince for the record.
Good morning, Commissioners. Aaron Martinez.
Okay, so we're gonna repave some streets out there in Hilltop, huh?
It's a Cape Seal job. It's oil and gravel.
Okay, so it's just gonna seal?
Yep.
Okay.
We had done the east side of Hilltop the year prior. And also the year prior, we had done a crack seal component on all the roadways. And so this project is a Cape Seal for the west side of Hilltop, which would be a chip seal capped with a micro slurry paving. And so it should continue to preserve those roads for at least 7 to 10 years.
Okay. Commission have any questions for Aaron or Donnie?
I don't know if this has anything to do, is it main Hilltop Road or just Hilltop Road and Hilltop in general?
Hilltop Road as well as all the roads west of Hilltop that are paved. So it's every roadway.
Okay, so my only question is that I've had people call and ask, and it's been a long time since I've been out on that road, that there's no like anything to mark in between the 2 lanes of the road going out on Hilltop. Is that something that we're going to be planning? Just, I know that doesn't have anything to do with this. I'm just, so I don't forget that that was one of the concerns is when you guys redo the road or work on the road, that if that is something that can be utilized. So there is a division of which side of the road. So I don't know if that's.
That's fine. So when they reseal, do they restripe?
Yes.
They do.
All right, very good.
On Hilltop, only the roads that currently have striping. Some of the other residential roadways.
But the main road will be, yes.
All right, very good, thank you.
Okay.
Are you gonna repave the Hilltop Road or just chip seal it?
It's a Cape Seal.
You wanna dig up the 2 soft spots out there before you do that?
So the Cape Seal is intended to bridge a lot of those components, but it's not a magic. It's not gonna fix everything. So there could be a patch may be required in the future.
Okay. No other questions? I'll hear a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the bid for preventive maintenance project PWP LA 2024-448 to repave multiple roads within the Hilltop area of Battle Mountain. And the contractor is Sierra Nevada Construction in the amount not to exceed $1,711,007.
Okay, we have a motion. Second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll go to 13. For discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove the bid award to 2024 LC Safe Routes PHIV project PWP-LA 2024-449 to install necessary curbs, gutters, sidewalks, and/or storm drains within Battle Mountain. 1, HE Honeywell Construction Company Incorporated in the amount of $5,908,519.88.
Okay, Commission, this job come in over budget, but we do have a grant that will cover the overage.
How much did it come in over?
Over 2 million.
Yeah.
And what was the cause for coming in over?
So it's just more of it was more of trying to address the entire north side of town. So it's not so much an over budget. If you look at the bids from the previous, this is our 4th Safe Routes. So in all reality, the last year's bid numbers are really identical to this year's bid numbers. So
in terms of cost per square foot, if you will, everything's really looking good in last year's numbers. So in terms of inflation and things like that, it's a good bid number. It's just more about trying to accomplish the entire north side.
Got you. So you're adding more stuff than what we had anticipated.
That's right.
Gotcha.
And then also this project is unique where there is zero slope on the roadways. And so when you're putting curb, gutter, and sidewalk on roads that don't have that currently, we're actually reformatting the area. And when you do that, you actually have to pave the road next to that new curb, gutter, and sidewalk, because when you have a zero slope grade versus trying to get some sort of slope, it requires us to pave more than we would like. And so if you look at the project plans, you'll see that we're doing quite a bit of intersection paving in order to make the new curb and gutter and sidewalk conducive with the topography of the roadways. The premise behind that is we don't want to put curb, gutter, and sidewalk in that does not flow the water, because eventually you're going to rebuild that road and you will build that road to that curb, gutter, and sidewalk that's going to be there for a long time. So we are kind of fixing a massive drainage problem as part of this project. So it's unique in the sense where it's not just sidewalks, it's also a storm drain project and a paving component as well.
Okay, thank you.
Is that what the 485,000 alternate bid is for, or what is that for?
That bid alternate is actually Reese Street, which is an NDOT component, which is why it was separated out. We are seeking NDOT approval. We are waiting for this commission to approve this project before we seek NDOT approval, because we weren't sure if this commission would move forward with that piece. And so based on today's decision, will then launch us into an NDOT occupancy permit to then replace the curb, gutter, and sidewalk along Reese Street as well.
Is that where they were pumping water the other day?
No, that was on Main Street.
Okay.
Okay, is there any other questions? If not, I'll hear a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the bid award to 2024 Lander County Safe Routes PH 4 project PWP LA 2024-449 to install necessary curbs, gutters, and sidewalks and storm drains within the North Battle Mountain. And Honeywell is the construction company, and $5,908,519.88.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Well, now we'll move into 2.1 for discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove resolution 2024-07, directing apportionment of net proceeds received in the month of July 2024 in amount of $1,834,121.59.
Lakin Sullivan for the record. So we did get a second distribution of net proceeds. And besides the mandated amounts, I'm just asking that we put the remainder into the Battle Mountain Water Fund to help with the Well 6 project.
Okay. Any questions on this? Okay, I'll hear a motion.
Do we have to read the resolution out again?
No.
No? Okay, I motion that we approve, where'd it go? Resolution.
Who's this? Okay.
That we approve resolution 2024-7, directing the apportionment of net proceeds received in July 2024 to be appropriated to various mandated and discretionary funds.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so now we'll go back to item 1.7. This is the update for discussion possible action on the settlement with CORE on the Lander County properties. Cody, you there? Hello?
Yes, can you hear me? I've been trying to get in. I apologize. It might be something on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, and I apologize, Commission, for the technical difficulties on trying to get in earlier.
Okay, you're going to give us where we're at on the whole one point on the item with the settlement agreement.
Yes, I believe it's item 1.17. It was put in the record prior. This is the settlement agreement between the county and Core as the general contractor and Van Wert Brigatti as the architect. This was a constructional defect matter that was brought against them for issues relating to the county commission building, courthouse, also the rec center and the golf course. We have reached a settlement and are proposing, based upon all the facts and circumstances and risks of the case, that the settlement of $400,000 is a reasonable settlement, with that value coming back to the county.
Okay. Does commission have any questions for Cody? If not, I'll hear a motion.
I motion we approve the settlement agreement and the mutual release between Lander County Core Construction Services Nevada and Van Wert Brigatti Architects for $400,000.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, well, thank you, Cody.
Thank you, Commission. I appreciate it.
Yep. All right, so we'll move on to 2.2. For discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove the updated Lander County plan for the provision of indigent defense services.
Lake and Sullivan for the record. So the approved one, or the final one that you have in your backup, I did make one change to that on page 3. After speaking with the Justice of the Peace, she asked that we add where it reads, an indigent person who is charged with a public offense. We added where incarceration is a possibility, just to save anyone from coming and asking for the public defender for dog tickets, speeding tickets, and everything else. So that's why we added that there. But otherwise, there was no changes.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on this? Okay, I'll hear a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the updated Lander County plan for provision of indigent defense services.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We'll move to 2.3 for discussion and possible action to approve, disapprove the write-off for a Battle Mountain Water and Sewer account number 20-1465-03, service address of 590 North First Street in the amount of $415.42.
Lake and Sullivan for the record again. This is an account that they've been trying to collect on for a while. This trailer is on railroad property over by the Lions Park, and the trailer is no longer there. It's been removed, but we don't have anything to put a lien on against because we don't own that property, and it wasn't owned by the trailer tenants either. So we're just asking for the write-off.
I got you. Okay. Is there any questions on it? I'll hear a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the write-off for the Battle Mountain Water and Sewer account number 20-1465-03, service address 590 North First Street.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now we'll move, thank you. We'll move into 3.1, correspondence reports, future agenda items.
What are we gonna do with 1-14
Which one?
for the road closures for the school?
We already did it.
Already
did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have
I
the
forgot.
back for the updated one, or back for the updated one.
So basically, this is the same Lance we met with back there?
Yeah. Was this table? Because there's nothing.
Well, I mean, yeah, we're just.
It wasn't an action, it was just an update item anyway.
Yeah, it was just an update item, so. So, all right, so.
If any more information comes from that, we'll put it on the next.
Yeah, put it on the next one. Any other on correspondence reports or future agenda items? Okay, we'll move into public comment. For non-agenda items only, is there public comment? And we have a public comment.
Hi, Commissioners, Aaron Martinez for the record. Just wanted to let you know, we had just finished another signing in Reno, and we're looking at about 85 to 90% of all signatures attained for the Austin Realignment Project.
That is incredible.
We actually might have a whole map ready to be filed. So I was just giving you an update.
Thank you so much.
Did Alan Chamberlain get a hold of you?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any other public comment? Okay, I'll hear a motion for adjournment.
I'll move.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.